Hello and welcome to the EMJ GOLD podcast, brought to you by EMJ, your #1 open access destination for healthcare professionals and pharma globally. Now you will see once again this week I'm not joined by Jade, but I've got a new face joining me for this episode from the EMJ team. So for this edition of the show, I'm very pleased to be sharing a conversation I had with Tim Uden, who is EMJ's creative director, and who will be taking us through a topic that's really interesting, and it's how to stand out in the medical education space by harnessing the power of creative storytelling and in turn emerging creative tools that can help bring education like this to life. Before we get into it though, I'd love to give a bit of background about Tim. So Tim's recently joined the healthcare and pharma industry, coming from a long career at creative agencies where he worked across consumer-facing brands. He's an award-winning creative director, specialising in advertising, marketing, design and creative strategy, and he's even a nominee for a Cannes Lions Award. He really prides himself on being a guardian of big and innovative ideas, and he's worked for a number of top UK agencies with his strategic expertise. So it's fantastic to have him on the team, and I'm really excited for him to share his insights with you today. In other words, Tim is good at telling a story, and today I'm going to talk to him about two storytelling tools in particular that EMJ is looking into and thinks could really be beneficial to the industry, and just really cool examples of how we can take medical education to the next level. And we know, if you work in pharma, you know that this is an area that really needs a shake-up. So here at EMJ GOLD, we recently did a poll where we ran this across our social media platforms, and it revealed that information overload is the main barrier for companies looking to engage with HCPs on new advances. And we also know research into medical conditions is doubling every 73 days. So there's a huge amount for healthcare professionals to keep up with. So whatever industry can do to combat that information overload and cut through the noise, I think is really, really valuable. So without further ado, let's dive straight into my conversation with Tim, picking up our chat as we talk about the first tool on the scene here at EMJ, and we're here to share.
Now with Jay still off this week, those of you on video will see that I'm joined by a new face for this week. This is Tim, EMJ's creative director. Hello Tim, how are you doing?
I'm great, thank you Isabel.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I've got Tim involved as we're going to be doing a slightly different type of episode today. So we're going to be talking about medical education, and we've been really focusing on this month at EMJ GOLD, mainly looking at all the different advances there have been in medical education, and specifically some new exciting products that EMJ is offering, which really could be useful in this space. So we know, if you work in pharma, you know that it's hard to get hold of healthcare professionals, whether you're in the marketing or the medical affairs side. And you also will know that healthcare professionals are really like any customer. I think that's a really key insight that I always hear at conferences, that it's important not to think of healthcare professionals as anything else than that. And we know medical knowledge is doubling constantly. It's doubling every 73 days, according to some research. So it's really hard for healthcare professionals to stay up to date. So it's really important that pharma finds ways to get the right information across, and in a way that really makes sense to healthcare professionals and it's easy for them to digest. Up until this point, I'm not sure if that's been the general offering completely. So that's why it's really exciting that so much stuff is coming out now. And I've enlisted Tim today because he knows a lot about cutting through the noise and making things look better and have a better user experience. So the first thing I want to talk about today, Tim, is an idea you brought forward, which is interactive articles. What can you tell us about these?
So, interactive articles, a bit of a passion of mine. Why would we do it? Well, the reason is you get to cut through the noise, like you said. And how do you do that? By basically creating an article where you can skim read it very, very quickly and find all those nuggets of information that you want at a drop of a hat. And then you can explore it, things pop up, and you can read on. So it takes, say, a 1,400 word article and just crunches it into something much more streamlined. And then healthcare professionals can just read the bits they want, or they can read the entire piece. It's just a very easy way of conveying information very, very quickly on multiple different formats as well.
It really does boost the look and feel, but also the retention of information that you're going to get. What are some of the other benefits of these articles?
Just
Tim?
the user experience is wonderful, to be fair. You really get like a rich multi-sensory experience using multimedia, lots of different, whether it's videos, animation, but in a subtle way. It's not sort of whiz-bang for whiz-bang's sake.
No.
It's really important.
Yeah, and I think it caters to different learning styles as well. I mean, everyone consumes information differently, and if you've just got a big block of text, that's only catering to one type fundamentally. So an interactive article also cuts through that issue as well. And I think it's unique.
It's very unique, and what it really does as well is, we're all visual people at the end of the day. So to get somewhere quickly and very quickly and understand that, well, that's a piece of information I either need to learn, need to know, or want to get to quickly, then it just helps you.
It's also really tailorable. I think that's something important to mention. So obviously every area of pharma is so different, but it is completely customizable and you can really do anything with it. So I think that's another thing to note.
Yeah, you can. There's a massive opportunity. I mean, it really is. And the way you explore it as well, it allows you to go deeper into the context of what that article is about, and that's what's really exciting. That's what's really engaging. So you can kind of like really get to what those new developments are. And for the person who writes the article to the end user, it's just more of a symbiotic experience, really.
If you are interested in learning a bit more about this, we are going to leave a link to an example, so do check it out, do have a play around, and I think you'll see what we're talking about, how it is a really superior customer experience. So Tim, we've spoken about interactive articles and all the opportunity there to tackle this challenge that healthcare professionals and pharma are having. The next one I'd like to talk about is, I know, a personal favourite of yours, and that is 3D human technology.
Yeah, I've got lots of personal favourites, and this is one of them. It's a very exciting topic. I stumbled across it through a third party, and imagine you've got a 3D human being which you can zoom in on and have a look at from any different angle, look at vessels down to organs, and understand the pathway of a drug or a procedure or anything you want. It's completely bespoke, and the beauty is, again, it's about storytelling. You can get to a story very, very, very quickly and understand exactly what the storyteller is trying to say in a visual way. So it's wonderful.
And in terms of stats, which I know is always very important to know, I think it's 96% of people said they understood the information better when it was visualised in that way, which is massive. And actually on the healthcare professional side, I read a report that said 34% of healthcare professionals want to see this. They had a high desire to see this. So if you're not doing it, it might very much be worth considering doing it.
Well, we live in a world of information overload. We all know we're on our
especially for healthcare professionals.
Exactly, we're on our mobile devices all the time. But as you quite rightly said, healthcare professionals have even more information. So
and less time.
And less time. So how do you cut to the chase? Using a few more visuals, clear pathways, real understanding, and get to it very quickly. This is a perfect tool for that.
And I think the really nice thing about this as well is the fact that it can be embedded in traditional education. We're not suggesting that healthcare professionals no longer want to read journals, that they only want to see fun, bang, whiz animations everywhere, but I think it really can enhance traditional offerings, and I think that's what's really exciting about this. We're not getting rid of how we used to do things, we're just upgrading it.
Exactly, and at the end of the day, the article or that piece has to be written anyway, so it's exactly the same, it's just how you distill it into shorter cut information.
Well, really exciting visuals.
Yeah, indeed.
Travelling through the human body. They are both really exciting. I hope you can tell we're really excited about it, and I think it's a really interesting time for medical education, separate to these products, just looking at the bigger picture. These are some of the things that are coming out now, but virtual reality, that's coming in. We're not quite involved in virtual reality yet, but we might be in the future. And I think it's an industry that's going to be worth billions in the coming years.
It is, and at the end of the day, virtual reality is, like you say, it's a hot topic, but at the end of the day, we mustn't be afraid of it. It's a tool at the end of the day. It's a tool that can be used to help shortcut things, improve
experience and learning,
and how people learn, and that's it. So it's much like the 3D articles and the 3D human. It's just a different way of consuming information on a very quick way, how you want to.
Yeah. Well, Tim, thank you.
My pleasure.
It's been lovely to go over all this stuff, and I think it is such an exciting opportunity for the industry to get a bit more creative. I think we were talking to a couple of experts in this the other day, and the consensus was get creative or be left behind.
Indeed.
So I think that's an important message maybe to think about. Thanks so much for joining me again. It's been lovely to have you on. But Jade will be back next week, and I am going to be back with her too. We have another exciting guest from the world of pharma. Tim, bye for now.
Thank you.
Well, hopefully a lot to take away there. Thank you again to Tim for joining us. To our point at the end, I think we really are on the cusp of an overhaul in medical education. Interactive 3D offerings are amazing, but they really are just the beginning. Virtual reality and of course AI for personalisation is going to be increasingly used, and we're very excited to see where that will take us. But if you want to learn anything more about what we've discussed today, some of those examples, we will leave some links in the show notes. That's it for this week. Thank you for tuning in. I will be back with Jade next week, and we're going to be talking to another guest from the world of pharma. So thank you so much, and bye for now.